Okay, and then of course between researcher and this key informant, okay, must maintain good relationship. Usually, even after the study is already finished, okay, the relationship between the researcher and also this key informant still become very close, okay, because they have been attached for quite so long, okay. And then the other one is by studying the life history. Okay, so again, it is also very helpful when a researcher study life history of a prominent figure in the society. Okay, because when the researcher study about the life history, they will study about the way of thinking, their perspectives, meaning that they start to see from the local culture just by studying from one person. Okay, but this person must be the prominent figure. Let's say someone who gave a lot of contributions to the society. Okay, so by having this type of research, one may understand, okay, why the people behave in that way. Okay, why they do certain actions. What are the significance of certain events in the society. And the other one is that ethnographic research, it involves longitudinal studies. It is a very long studies, at least about 1 year. Okay, so you just imagine. Okay, it is not easy in order to give conclusions about certain social behavior. Okay, so it is not fair if you just come for a few months and then you come out with your own conclusion already. Okay, maybe there are other factors that you fail to see within that few months. Maybe due to, let's say, difference of the season. Okay, that different season and they will behave differently. Okay, so for the validity of the research, it must be a longitudinal studies whereby it requires a long time. Okay, because you want to confirm that your research, your observations is true. Okay. Okay, look at this picture. You can see that this English man wearing kain pelikat. Okay. Sir Raymond Firth, okay, an anthropologist wearing kain pelikat in this picture. This shows how he is becoming native, right? Because he conduct the ethnography research, okay, whereby he has to follow the way of life of the people. Okay, so he went to the kanduris, even he involved, okay, in all the preparations for kanduris, okay, as he want to study about the social behaviors of the people, of the Malay people. Okay, look at this man, okay, Thomas H. Erickson, Norwegian anthropologist. Okay, he once conducted fieldwork in the West Indies. You know what he had done? Okay, in order for him to really understand, okay, what are the difficulties that faced by the people over there, the laborers over there. So what he did was that he worked hard cutting and carrying sugar canes under the hot, blistering sun. Okay, so you just imagine he never had this type of exposure before. But in order for him to write about the difficulties of the people, their daily experience, okay, if they are hungry, okay, they are tired, what is the level of their hunger, okay, their tiredness. Okay, so he wants to experience it. In order to experience it, of course, he has to follow what the people had done. Okay, so you can see up to this level. Okay, so that is why I keep saying that ethnographic research is very, very much challenging. Okay. Okay, so when we go through about the techniques for anthropological research, okay, once we conducted the research, now we managed to get the data. Okay, and I hope you remember that the data, whatever you collected, okay, it is descriptive in nature. The report must be descriptive in nature. So how the researcher is going to interpret the data? Okay, for example, okay, let's say one observe the way the Malay people do the preparations for the kenduri. okay, whereby the society will help, okay, the people will help each other, okay, they will gather maybe a few weeks before, right, maybe they have a meeting, okay, so they will observe, they will write it clearly, okay, in the report, what been said by the people, what been discussed by the people, what is the priority in the preparation. Okay, now they already have all the data. Okay, we come to the other stage now. With this data, how they are going to interpret. Okay, so basically, okay, there are, okay, the data will be interpreted based on emic perspective, okay, or ethic perspective. And also, in the interpretations of data, it is important for you to realize the elements of ethnocentric bias. Okay, now let us go through one by one. Okay, what is emic perspective, ethic perspective, and ethnocentric bias? Okay, in order to interpret data, first, if the researcher focus on emic perspective, meaning that the researcher focus on what has been taught by the local people. Okay, so meaning that the focus is about the local viewpoint rather than the researcher's viewpoint. Okay, so meaning from this emic perspective, in order to interpret the data, the explanation will be based on the ideas or opinion or the views from the local people. Okay, why, how, okay, why they do certain things based on their own reasons. Okay, meaning that there is no personal ideas from the researchers about certain behavior. Okay, so from this emic perspective, the interpretation solely based on the what been said by the people. Okay, so this is the emic perspective. In contrast to emic perspective, ethic perspective will not consider the local's viewpoint, but it is more based on the researcher's viewpoint. Okay, so you can see the difference between emic perspective and ethic perspective. Okay, for example, let's say in certain culture, they believe so much about the witch doctor, the shaman, right? So if there is any illness, so they may easily say that, oh, it is due to the, okay, due to the certain, okay, spiritual power, okay, certain, it is not related to disease and whatsoever. Okay, but for that researcher who have background, let's say in medicine, okay, those come in modern society, okay, the researcher not believe in this. So in order to write report, okay, the researcher simply conclude that the disease come, okay, the illness come due to certain disease. So need to see the doctor. So that is from the ethic perspective. Okay, so meaning that the researcher will interpret the data based on his own understanding, based on his background, not based on the local people's viewpoint. Okay, it is not based on the local people's perspective. Okay, so this is how ethic perspective differs from the emic perspective. Can you see the difference? Okay, from between emic and also ethic perspective. Okay, the other way of interpreting the data here, as you can see, number 3, ethnocentric bias. Okay, why? Why there should be bias in interpreting the data? Ethnocentric bias here, meaning that researcher, he is biased with his own viewpoint, right? Maybe he feel like his culture is more advanced compared to the society that he is studied. Okay, so he feel that the culture is more glory rather than the culture that he is studied. Okay, so this is how he managed to develop the ethnocentric bias. Okay, so he may give his simple judgment saying that, okay, this type of culture, okay, this is so bad. Okay, just based on his own viewpoint, based on his culture. Okay, so this is the questions of ethics in doing research, whereby there is no culture can claim that their culture is the best compared to the other culture. You remember what we have discussed about the meaning of culture, the concept of culture, right? We have discussed about the characteristic of culture in the beginning, in the first topic before, right? Whereby all the cultures, okay, they have the integrated values. Okay, all the cultures, the values is towards the good values. No cultures going to emphasize on the bad values. Okay, but the difference will be on the perceptions, okay, all about the principles of right and wrong. The principles of good and bad will be different. Okay, so it is not fair if one culture want to say that their culture is superior than the other culture. Okay, because every culture have different viewpoints. Therefore, in order to interpret the data, the researcher should avoid this ethnocentric bias. What about the ethic perspective? Okay, do you think that a researcher should have their own viewpoints, should mention about their own viewpoint in interpreting the data? Okay, so they have spent a lot of time together with the people that they want to study. They stay together, right? And then, with the data that they have, in order to do conclusion, to write the report, okay, do you think that it is necessary for them to write based on their perspective? Okay, so the most important thing in doing the interpretations of data, it must be from the local's viewpoint rather than the researcher's viewpoint. Okay. Okay, now let us see what are the theoretical foundation in research. Okay, so this is about the importance of referring to theory in doing research. Do you believe in theory? Okay, what do you understand with theory? Okay, is theory necessary for you in order to guide you to conduct research? Okay, so it is stated here, the anthropological theories help us to interpret data, okay, to explain cultural phenomena and make predictions about social behavior. So this describes about the importance of theory. But you have to understand that theory is not always right. It can be a guide, okay? You can make it as a guidance, but it is not necessary that you have to follow it all the time, okay? Okay, it is stated here, even if a theory cannot be proven, it may still be useful for research purposes because it can be used to generate hypotheses. Okay, what is the relationship between theory and hypothesis? Okay, if you have taken introduction to social science, I believe that you have go through about this, right? How to generate a theory. Okay, how from observations, someone can come out with hypotheses. Okay, and when these hypotheses go through certain process, the experiment, right? And after that, from this hypothesis, after it been tested, it is proven, then it become a theory. So you can see how the process from observation, okay, from observation, okay, it will go through, will come out with hypothesis, okay, and then it need to be tested. After tested, it must be proven, and then it become theory. Okay, theory is something that must be established. It must go through from the using the scientific method. Okay, scientific observation using the scientific method. Okay, so theory is helpful actually in order to guide the researcher in order to conduct the study. Okay, the theoretical foundation in research basically will follow these three types of theories. The first one is evolutionary theory. Okay, the second is diffusion theory, and the third one is functionalism. Okay, I believe that you feel you may be not familiar with the term functionalism. Okay, so this is an important term for this subject. Okay, so again, I want to remind you, you need to really understand what functionalism theory is. Okay, evolutionary theory. Okay, I believe you have heard about this theory before. Diffusion theory, we have discussed just now. Okay, from topic 1 about the diffusion theory. Okay.